Hi guys, hello boys and girls, and hello my dear fellow foreign English speakers. It's me, Robbie from EnglishHarmony.com, and welcome back to my video blog. In today's video, I'm going to discuss a particular comment that I received 7 days ago at this stage, but it doesn't really matter. Even if it was a year ago, this comment is going to be relevant for like ever, because it clearly illustrates the importance of building your English vocabulary in context, basically contextual learning, right? And before we actually get down to business and start looking at the actual comment, please check out this article, and there's a video as well, and there's a task that you can participate to see how well contextual English vocabulary building works, right? As opposed to just memorizing individual English words with the respective descriptions, right? So let me just read what the person says in the comment. Basically, someone wrote this being the excerpt that I'm going to read later on, right? So someone wrote this in a class somewhere. Something is wrong with their writing, but I can't make out what it is. I ran it through some word usage grammar software and found no errors. Why does it all seem wrong? The usage of words sometimes makes no sense to me. And then I kind of started reading it, and indeed, it kind of seems as if the sentences are constructed very well, that the words are used the way they're supposed to be used, but it sounds very awkward, right? And just to give you a little taste of what that person is talking about, please let me read a few sentences, right? Southern Republicans composed new state constitution and framed another state government. Well, this sentence is kind of alright, right? Next up, dark men enrolled to vote Republican since they were thankful to the Republican Party that liberated them and conceded them franchise. That sounds kind of awkward. That liberated them and conceded them franchise. You see? I kind of get the drift. I kind of understand the idea of what the author of the writing has meant, right? But it doesn't sound right. Next up. They joined in politics toward training and equivalent treatment under the steady gaze of the law and joined together in the Republican Party to seek after political change. I would say that the word usage is totally off, right? They joined in politics, right? You don't say that, you know? The closest equivalent would be they joined politics, right? Toward training, equivalent treatment under the steady gaze, under the steady gaze of the law. You know, I'm reading and I'm kind of getting the idea of what every next word means, but the overall picture is kind of lost on me, you know? Let's move on. Dark ladies took an interest in the political battle by joining parades and encourages, going to addresses and crusading. Whites started to blacklist governmental issues by and large. Like, the impression I'm getting from this is that that person kind of knows, well, that person obviously knows what those words mean. I would imagine they've learned those particular words individually, and then they're trying to apply them. They're trying to form sentences by sticking words together, right? And as a result, the writing is very difficult to understand. This one, right, the last one that I just read. Whites started to blacklist governmental issues by and large. Like, you don't use the expression by and large in that sense, right? By and large is normally used in the beginning of the sentence to say that something happens overall, like in generally. By and large. Followed by the rest of the statement, right? But whites started to blacklist, and this one to blacklist governmental issues. I would imagine what they meant is boycott governmental issues, right? Kind of ignoring those issues, not blacklist. Like blacklist, in my book, you wouldn't be using the word blacklist in this sense, right? And moving on, still, darks rejoined with family that they were isolated from on account of being sold. On account of being sold, like, I now I'm lost. I don't even get the drift anymore. Dark were no more made to go to chapel, where they were made to sit in the back. Rather, they made their own congregation of love, that despite everything we know today as the Methodist and Baptist Church. Well, this sentence was kind of okay, yeah. That struck an example of school and other get-together to be far from white individuals. That struck an example of school. To the best of my knowledge, there is no such expression as to strike an example. Well, maybe there is, right? I've never actually claimed to be privy to every single expression and idiom and phrase that's out there, right? But just for the argument's sake, just look it up, right? Strike. The best website is thefreedictionary.com. That's one I always use, right? So what I do is I open up thefreedictionary.com, then type in the word, for example, strike in this case, right? Then hit enter, obviously, and then when some results are returned, you click on the idioms tab. And that's going to bring up all the idioms containing the word strike, okay? Strike, so strike up. So what was the expression? Strike an example, right? Strike a bargain, strike a chord, strike a pose, strike down, strike from, but there is no example to be found. Just make sure that I'm not missing the word example. No, just like I said, to the best of my knowledge, you can't use this verb strike and example in a combination. That's not a natural collocation. It's one of those unnatural collocations that happens when you just stick words together, you know what I mean? So I hope that you're getting the drift, right? Obviously my response to that person's comment was saying that whoever wrote this article hasn't used all those words and vocabulary in a native-like fashion. They've just learned those words by way of memorizing their meanings, maybe even in their native language, which is the worst case scenario, right? You know what it means in your native language, and then when you write or speak in English, you try and translate from your native language by using the respective English words that you would have learned, right? And the resulting speech or writing is totally awkward. It's very difficult to understand. And yep, just decided to record this video for you guys so that you can clearly see what it's all about. I mean, so that you can clearly see why it's important to learn English vocabulary the contextual way, right? Context is the king. Please bear that in mind. Remember it forever, my friends, right? Context is the king. Whatever you learn has to be learned contextually, and that way your brain is going to retain that content, right? Obviously, sometimes you would forget certain English words that you don't really use, and so on and so forth. But for the most part, what you learn contextually is going to be retained with a high probability of being used again and again. And it's going to be ensuring that you'll be using it in a native-like fashion. I mean, the fact that you learn it contextually, that's going to ensure that the native-like speech pattern is acquired by your brain, by your mouth, and so that you can use it in your speech going forward, right? Now, thanks for watching this video, my friends. And obviously, if you have any questions, please feel free to publish them in the comments section below. Chat to you soon. Bye-bye.